My Brother's Keeper has a special meaning for President Barack Obama. The initiative is aimed at helping young minority men succeed in all aspects of their lives. Joining us now from Oakland, California is Justin Davis, an impact advisor at the Caper Center there. Justin, good to have you joining us now. I know that there are 11 foundations that have partnered with the White House, the Caper Center being one of them.
Yes. First, thanks for having me. We're very happy to be one of the 11 foundations that have joined this effort. Philanthropy has come to the table to support the White House initiative, and as well as put forth recommendations for interventions that have been successful with boys and men of color.
Now, from my understanding, you had 90 days to develop programs and policies before the president wanted, I guess, to meet again and for everyone to say we're ready to start implementing some of these policies and that we've come up with in programs.
Yeah, it was a very rushed and tumultuous 90 days,
Yeah,
but
bad.
as we all know, when the president makes a order, we all follow suit.
Right.
So we had our marching orders as part of the 90 days, and we actually did a great job of coming together. Several of these foundations have never worked locked in step, and so this was the first time several of us had come together to work together. There were executive staff from each of the foundations that had contributed in working groups. We were fortunate at the Cape Center to lead one of those working groups, that being public engagement and community outreach. So in that role, we were a leader amongst the other 11, being one of the smaller foundations, but being able to have a big role in this very important initiative.
I understand $300 million in funding has been raised so far through these partnerships, and that's just amazing. Can you talk to me about some of the programs that and policies that have been changed or programs that will be implemented to help our young men?
Yes, that's right. So for philanthropy, each foundation that's come to the table as part of the 11, I'll say the core 11, each made a commitment of $750,000 over 3 years, so $250,000 each year. A lot of that money will be spent in certain areas such as narrative change. So really changing the narrative of boys, men of color, work around implicit and explicit bias. Workforce development, as we all know, there's a huge disparity in terms of the economic workforce for boys and men of color in comparison to their white peers. So being able to close that gap, changing hiring policies, for example, ban the box. We know there's a huge criminalization for boys and men of color. So being able to ensure that the cradle to prison pipeline is dismantled, but also those who have been part of the criminalization of this country are able to come out of jail and be able to find opportunities in the workforce.
So you're dealing with programs that impact African Americans from what age group?
From birth to 26. So really looking at the whole lifeline and the experiences that young men go through, whether it be through education, so from birth to college, to and through college, and also coming out of college in terms of their economic opportunities in the workforce.
You know, Justin, this initiative is extremely important, and I think many of us, certainly myself as an African American woman who does as much as she can to encourage and empower young women, I'm wondering why we don't have an equal focus on minority females as we do on minority males.
Yes. So that certainly has to be acknowledged, and I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the fact that the role of women in this conversation is equally as important as that of young men and boys. But I feel what has been taken out of context is that this is really have been a targeted approach for the White House, and in particular recognizing that if we put a lot of infrastructure in building a stronger infrastructure for boys and men of color, it will have a send a catalyst effect throughout our communities. Yes, that's true, but we also need to recognize that there is an important conversation we have for our women. And I would say that the White House and philanthropy is taking the right steps to have those conversations.
All right, Justin, I understand that the College Board is putting in $1.5 million to ensure students of color will enroll in at least one AP class, which I thought was just fantastic when I read that. You guys are doing great work with My Brother's Keepers initiative. Keep up the good work. Certainly we do need to find some way to engage minority females with the challenges, and we have very specific challenges indeed. And I do understand what you're saying, that you know, if we can focus on this one end of things, hopefully, you know, all the gains will emanate into others. It's just that I think we need to engage all of our children at this point, male and female, and I'm specifically talking about African Americans right now. Justin Davis, Impact Advisor at the KPOR Center, thank you so much for joining us, and please say hello to former NAACP Chair Benjamin Jealous for us, would you?
I definitely will.
All right,
Thank
take
you.
care.